Welcome to Fine Art for All. My name is Barbara Mendes. Tonight we are going to look at a painting behind me in the studio called Geula. And the word Geula, it means redemption. This painting is about the day the Messiah comes, and we're going to look at it and examine the details. Also tonight we're going to do a feature that I enjoy called Now We Paint. Behind me here is a painting I've been working on television. Each phase of the painting has been done in front of the camera. So tonight we're going to take it a little farther along. I'll begin by looking at the painting Geula, which again means redemption. Now, the redemption I'm talking about is the day the Messiah comes, the Mashiach. How are we going to know that the Messiah is here? Well, there are going to be three ways that we know. Three things will tell us that the Messiah is here, and the painting shows those three things. The first is that we'll have a third temple. We call it the Bet HaMikdash, and it's the third Jewish temple, not the first temple, not the second temple where they had donkeys and camels and old-timey things. This is a temple in modern Jerusalem, and it's in the old city, the Ir Atika, and it's set in modern Jerusalem with many of the landmarks you'll see when you visit Jerusalem today, because please God, there should be peace. Here we see the windmill of Montefiore, which was one of the first buildings to be built outside the walls of the old city. And over here is Independence Park. And a very lovely part of Jerusalem is Machane Yehuda. It's a beautiful market where you can buy every type of vegetable and really every type of item. In fact, I have a sketch in my sketchbook from my recent visit to Israel where I was at Machane Yehuda. Now, we see in the third temple, we see the features of the temple. When there is a Jewish temple in the world, there is no question about whether God exists, because 10 miracles happen every single day, and we can see them in the temple, and we know that God exists. One of the miracles is that the smoke from the altars always goes straight up. And so we see the smoke rising straight up. And also, even though we know there were sacrifices which were like meat, there were never flies or a smell or anything. Now we see the altar here surrounded by all the people are coming into the Bet HaMikdash to see the events. And over here we see, if we can go right inside to the building, we see the menorah, the table of showbreads, the incense altar, and in the back, the Holy of Holies, where we have the Ark. Inside the Ark are the 10 Commandments, the originals, and on top of the Ark are two beautiful angels, the Cheruvim. And God speaks to the people through the wings of the angels on top of the Ark. So we see that we have one item in place in the painting. We have the third Bet HaMikdash, and it's in modern Jerusalem. Let's take a look at the second requirement for the Mashiach, for the Messiah. The second thing we have to see is that the exiles will return. In this case, the Jewish people who are all around the world will all return to Jerusalem. And the entire bottom of the painting shows this phenomenon. Now, each one of these airplanes represents a synagogue from my neighborhood. I'd like to come in close if we can see some of these airplanes where they have a minion of 10 men on the first wing. And on the second wing, we have the ladies. And on the third wing, we have all the children and all the babies. Altogether, there's 10 airplanes. And you have to imagine that these airplanes are flying into Jerusalem, and the people are dancing on the wings. Now, this is a synagogue called Netan Eli, which features a school. So to highlight that, I have here pictures of the children learning in the school. So the second feature of Mashiach coming is the exiles return. All the Jewish people from Los Angeles are riding airplanes, and they're coming, they're landing in Jerusalem. What's the third thing? The third thing is that the dead people will come back. It's the rising of the dead, the return of the dead people. So for this painting, I figured as long as the dead people are coming back, let's invite the very great dead people from the Bible. And if you follow me around the top of the painting, you will see that I'm starting right here from Adam and Eve. Even they may come back on that day. And here's Noah. And here are our patriarchs. Abraham with his wife Sarah, Yitzhak with his wife Rivka, and Yaakov, or Jacob, with his 4 wives, and these are his 12 sons, the 12 tribes of Israel, and also with their wives. Now here we have some very famous heroes from the Bible. This is Moses, Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, our teacher. And this is Aaron, his brother, the high priest. And this is Miriam, his sister, and she's dancing with her women, celebrating the crossing of the Red Sea with tambourines. This figure is Eliyahu HaNavi. It's Elijah the prophet. This figure is King Solomon with his many wives. This is King David with his wife, one of his wives, Bathsheba. This is Queen Esther and Mordecai. You can see that he's carrying the Megillah. And this figure here represents the Mashiach, the Messiah, coming in riding on a rainbow donkey. Now, another feature of this painting is that it shows a little bit of scenes from Israel. If you follow the painting out this way, you will go out through the farmland, sort of like you're on your way to Tel Aviv, and you see the beautiful, beautiful farms of Israel. Now, if you follow the painting out this way, we're going to take the road north, and we're going to go through the Judean desert and past the town of Jericho, the very famous town. And we're going to continue north until we get to the Kinneret, which is the Sea of Galilee. And as we pass it, we get to the city of Tiberias, one of the most beautiful cities in the world. Now, if you go farther up the mountain, you'll get to the holy city of Tzfat, where it's really, the Kabbalists were there. It's a very holy place. Now, about 3 weeks ago, I visited the north of Israel. I was in Israel delivering my Shemot mural to the Sephardic Education Center, which is right in the Old City in Jerusalem, where it will be displayed in the dining room permanently. So while I was in Israel, this time I visited the north, and I went to the Galilee, and I went to the Golan, and I cannot tell you how beautiful the land was and how gorgeous, and it's so sad that there's a war now a week after I left. So I brought pictures to show you, 3 pictures of the incredible natural beauty in the north of Israel, so that we can all share perhaps the tragedy that right now there's a time of war there. This is called Banias Falls, and it's in the north of Israel, and it's a magnificent waterfall, which is a nature preserve, and people can visit it. This is the Jordan River, the famous Jordan River, and you can see a raft in the picture, and I actually did raft down the Jordan River. And here's a picture of me by the banks of the Jordan River in the north of Israel in beautiful, peaceful times.